Okay, I see all you guys are energized today. That's great. Well, my name is Faye Valerio, and I am a senior at Vicksburg High School. Woo! I am glad to be here today to welcome our teachers and our business community guests to the 2017 Vicksburg Warren School District Convocation. Teachers, thank you for all that you do for our students at the school. I know that you will enjoy the program today, and that when you leave, you will be excited, inspired, and ready for the school year. We are here to kick off our new school year, and we have a big announcement too. Today marks a monumental milestone for education in the entire Vicksburg community. After months of planning and preparation, today we will celebrate being designated a Ford Next Generation community. This designation means the Vicksburg Warren College and Career Academies are joining a national network selected by the Ford Motor Company that is transforming public high schools into career-themed academies. Today, we will officially open the Vicksburg Warren College and Career Academies.
Good morning. My name is Peyton Pierce, and I'm a junior at Warren Central High School. I am so excited to be a part of this program today and to be able to invite the Vicksburg High School JROTC to represent the colors. Please stand. Remove all caps. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. My name is Scott Wallace, and I'm a freshman at Warren Central High School. Please bow your heads as I give the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful for the chance we have as teachers and students to gather at this event and prepare for the coming school year. I'd like to ask you to please help us that we will be concentrated and ready to teach. I'd like to ask you to please help us that we will inspire students and that these kids will remember what they learned from this school year throughout the rest of their lives. I'd like to thank thee for letting us have such a good and amazing school district, and we'd like to ask thee to please help us that we will be able to work together and better it. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
You may be seated. Good morning. My name is Mia Walmsley, and I am a senior at Warren Central High School. John Hume once said, "I never thought in terms of being a leader. I thought very simply in terms of helping people." Good leadership can make a better world. Setting an example as a great leader helps others see what skills they need to be the best that they can be. We have some officials and community leaders here today that we are thankful for. Please help me in welcoming them. Mississippi State Senator Briggs Hobson. Vicksburg Warren School Board President Brian Pratt. Vicksburg Warren School Board Trustee Joe Leviza. Vicksburg Warren School Board Trustee Sally Bullard. Vicksburg Warren School Board Trustee Alonzo Stevens. Vicksburg Warren School Board Trustee Jim Sturgis Jr. Warren County Supervisor Charles Selman. George Flaggs Jr., Mayor of the City of Vicksburg. Vicksburg North Ward Alderman Michael Mayfield. Vicksburg South Ward Alderman Alex Monsour. Mr. Horace Allen, representing Judge Price in the Warren County Youth Court. City of the Vicksburg Deputy Chief Eric Payman. Vicksburg Fire Chief Craig Danchik. Deputy Connie Ricketts and officers representing the Warren County Sheriff's Office. Executive Director, Office of Secondary Education, Mississippi Department of Education, Gene Massey. Vicki Powell, Senior Vice President, Foundation's Mississippi Economic Council. Executive Director of the Vicksburg Warren Chamber of Commerce, Pablo Diaz. Shane Gerard, Vicksburg Warren 911.
Good morning. My name is Eddie Howard, and I'm a junior at Vicksburg High School. Many of you know our first speaker today. His passion for education and commitment is to create a brighter future for all students is contagious. Please help me welcome a true leader, Superintendent Chad Sheely.
Thanks, sir. Great job. Well, thank you for the opportunity. They gave me nothing to walk around with, so this is going to be tough. Hang on. I got one. All right, testing. Good. Well, good morning, Vicksburg Warren School District. Today is a great day to learn something new. I'm going to tell you, as I started talking, they told me I had about 15 minutes, which y'all know I can sneeze for that long, so I had to narrow it down. But you can't give me a mic and a group of educators without me talking about something that's didactic. This little snippet is going to be something that ties you to research and what we're doing with Ford and GL. I don't know, when I taught, it made it easier for me to use mnemonic devices and physical things, so I'm going to ask you to do some of that this morning. If you could, just stand up with me, and it's going to help me remember my speech, and it's going to help you remember what we talked about. Raise either hand. I'm agnostic on this, so pick you a hand. If you're left or right, doesn't matter. Put one finger up. First thing we're going to remember about this is new. That's easy, right? New's easy because it's the first. We are the first in a lot of things, by the way, because I like that. I'm an only child. I love to be first and only. First and repetitive. First and repetitive changes the brain. And this one, I don't know, and this is my ADHD kicking in. Did y'all have underoos when you were a kid? I did. I had Spider-Man underoos. My mom used to get mad because I climb all over the furniture. But I want your best Spider-Man. Best Spider-Man. Web. And you can pick your own emotion here. So you'll learn a lot about your neighbor. Just visualize your emotion. But on the count of three, non-linguistically, you can get a little erg or arg or whatever you want to do in there. But when I count to three, you're going to show your emotion, whatever that emotion is. On the count of three. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I know it's kind of Incredible Hulkish, you know what I mean? Makes me feel good. So we're going to do this again. First Repetitive changes the brain to create a web that invokes emotion. All right, y'all can sit down. It's good stuff. That's a lot better than 5-point bullet points, isn't it? So one of the things, there's a guy named Donald J. Ford. That ain't where you thought I was going, was it, Jim? Donald J. Ford, and I'm kind of a research junkie, and I was reading one of his white papers, and he talked about the physiology of the brain and how it reacts to learning. And it was huge in its context to what we're doing with Ford NGL, so I felt obliged to share that with you this morning. One of the things it talked about is there's a novelty within our brain, and it ties learning to things that are novel and new. Things that are new, it automatically pays attention to. My dad's he loves stuff, but he loves Meerkat Manor. Did y'all watch that show when it was on? Kind of operates that way. Your brain's kind of like a stack of meerkats. It's got an orthographic processor that's back here, and everything it sees and hears, it gives attention to the first time it sees it. First time. It's that sentinel, and it makes a chirp, and all of them stand up, like on their little post when they do it, and they're all looking at it. And what it does is it compares new information to old information, and if it already knows it, all of them go back to sleep. It's an amazing thing. Our organ, our brain is fantastic. So what it does, it's effective, it's efficient. Doesn't waste time on things it already knows. You English teachers know this because you get all those ofs and these that the kids miss when they're editing their paper. Well, that's one of the things when you consider learning something new, something novel, and the more frequent you are located to its origin, you will remember it better. So it's a memory tool. When you talk about what Ford NGL brings to our students, it is definitely out of the box. It is definitely new. Some people would dare to say that's not necessarily the case. Mr. Joe did some amazing things when he was over at Hines to begin to take the real workforce issues and place them in the classroom. So one of the things we'll do through Ford NGL that is new, for the first time we're going to be inviting people from our community into the work of what we do and inviting you as teachers out into the community to see the work they do. We do that very specifically to tailor the message of what we're giving to our children so that they can find it to be relevant. That's awesome. The second thing, anybody remember what it was? Repetitively. You do something once, you can remember it. You do something multiple times, you can remember it better. Now, the thing I like about the way that Ford NGL addresses this context, it changes the way we instruct. We don't instruct in isolation any longer. You elementary folks do this constantly. You have thematic units, and you will walk into your math class and hear something. You walk into your English class, well, actually, it's the same person in elementary, and hear the same thing. Well, what we begin to do in middle school and high school is we begin to operate in silos with that content. But imagine a world where I'm in my science class, and I'm hearing about, let's say, phenotype and genotype, and how many different kind of flies have red eyes, and these have white eyes, and then you leave, and then you go to math, and you hear something else. Well, imagine a world where you take the statistical relevance of the information you just learned in science, and you put it into practice in the math class. Then you leave the math class, and you write, and you read informational text, and you develop ideas around genetics in your language. Well, imagine the social implications when you get up out of your seat and you go to ERDIC and you sit in a lab where they're engineering bugs to eat pestilent plants in the waterways right now. That changes the scope of what children learn. So the more they hear it, the more frequently. This is Alonzo Stevens, amazing man. He's our board member. Y'all give him a hand. He didn't hear you. So the more frequently you can hear it, it sticks. Third thing. What was the third thing? Changes your brain structure. This is great for those of you who are over a certain age, and you can just pick an age. Our brain doesn't stop learning. It never stops learning. Now, we choose not to learn new stuff, but our brain never stops learning. There is no such thing as fixed mindset. It's a farce. You can think and believe in it all you like, but it doesn't exist because your brain won't let it be so. Remember that thing? Doesn't matter if I'm 80 or 30 or 12 or 10. It takes past experiences and compares them to the new experiences. Now, the strength in this particular thing, your brain can't get any bigger. It's kind of got capacity issues. It can't get any bigger than the skull that you got. Some of us got bigger noggins than others. But God made a way. We have wrinkles that form. I tell kids, the more you read, the more wrinkles you create. And if you look, they've done autopsies of brilliant people, and they got the most wrinkled brains because your cerebrum, it folds over to create more surface area for you to learn with. And that's awesome. That means it doesn't matter how old you get, you can continue to learn. You can continue to move. Well, as that place happens, the physiology of the brain, what happens, you got dendrites and axons, and they communicate through chemicals. And what they do is they will reach over here and attach a new pathway. And go, hey, I've never done this before. I'm going to show you something real quick. Everybody stand up. Did you watch Bugs Bunny? I used to watch Bugs Bunny. All right, we're going to do something. I'm going to try to hold this under my arm and do it. Actually, hey, come hold this. Thank you. All right, come on, you have to keep up with me. All right, Bugs Bunny. Everybody remember Bugs? You got Bugs Bunny, and then he had that guy that was always hunting him. You remember who it was? Elmer Fudd, and he was always going what? Wabbit hunting. Y'all, that's great. See, that's prior information, just in case you're wondering. All right, so what happens is in the cartoon you had Bugs Bunny, and he was always running from the gun. You got Elmer over here. Well, then something would happen in the course of that episode, and it didn't really matter which episode because it was all of them. It was the same thing. Bugs would get the gun, and all of a sudden he'd start chasing Elmer. Well, and then it'd snap back, and then it'd come over, and then it'd snap back, and then it'd come over. So let's do this real quick. Hold up your bunny. Hold up your gun. We're going to go this direction. Now we're going to swap. Then we're going to swap. Now we're going to, wait a minute, y'all are confusing me. I was good. Now I'm seeing like rabbits with 3 ears and a double barrel shotgun or a rabbit with a kickstand. What happened? Thank you, baby. That's new learning. Brand new. It was hard. It was hard the first time you did it, right? Your brain is an amazing organ. The more you do this, and this afternoon, I promise you go home and you'll be like, dadgummit, that was too simple. It'll adapt, and it will learn. You can learn new things. It's going to make new pathways. That's very important when you're dealing with kids. Don't ever think you have a child that cannot learn. All children can learn. It's a fundamental belief. Absolutely. And all means all. It was one of the prerequisites we're working with Ford. They said, all right, now if you're going to pull this off, this is for all students, not just the ones you deem special. I said, baby, you're talking to the wrong fellow. They all special to me. He said, that's what we wanted to hear. Well, they refused to work with the community that doesn't have a growth mindset, which was awesome. The next thing we talked about, we got frequency, we got change the brain into Spider-Man. That's right. It's a web. And that's mine. When you read the white paper, it's not going to be in there. But what it does is it begins to connect different portions. And there's a way of belief that goes, I need to put these things in my lesson plans to address individual kids based on their learning styles, which kind of a false operation. Now, there are things that kids really do learn well with, but guess what? All kids really do learn well with. There's no point in isolating those things because what begins to happen is the kid go, well, I'm not a kinesthetic learner. That's a lie. You are. You just may not be good at it. The more things I can engage at one time, the more I can infuse, the stronger that bond becomes. I see Brother Blackburn out there. If I told you right now, brother, he owns a car dealership. If y'all don't know him. If I could tell you a way to put more cars on your lot cheaper and get them off of your lot faster, would you be interested in talking with me? He is in. Look, already he is in. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about something that's going to make the effort that you put forth every day, the hard work that you do every single day, it's going to make it easier. Because we're using the brain's natural response. So when I begin to tie these things together, when I take a math course, and now it's tied to a language course that's now tied to a CTE course. What do you mean CTE? What, it's tied to an elective course? What are you talking about? David Campbell, when I worked for him, I was able to come in there. I looked every teacher in the eye and said, give me a lesson plan. We're going to consolidate this thing. Didn't I? I'm not lying, am I? Did it right out of the gate. Because I knew that when my students had the opportunity to have multiple ways to see that information. If I got an English teacher who's writing about math and a math teacher who's using the structure of the English class, then guess what? I just got a double dip in my content. So Ford NGL puts these teachers together. And they begin to take that and move it over to community college? Are you kidding me? Yes, our community college teachers. They're helping plan with us. Imagine the strength of what happens to children now because they see it and they connect those webs all across their brain. And there's about 7 parts of the brain. The more of those you can engage, the better off that you will be in making that information stick the first time. So putting a lesson together that is strategically planned to do that. is huge. Last one, and of course my emotion was the Incredible Hulk. I just like that. I also did that too. I'd go in my closet and put on little clothes when I was a kid, and I'd bust out of them because, Lou Ferrigno was my hero. You did that too, didn't you? You did it. The emotional context is very intentional. The exercises we did today were very intentional. I got you out of your seat. I made you laugh. I can tell you right now to turn to you're not going to, but you could turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor something that someone said to you in middle school that hurt your feelings. I'm 44 years old. That emotion was very real to me. It made a lasting impression in a part of my brain. Nobody had to teach me that. It was said one time. I can do that with these two boys right here when they were born. Ooh, it changed my life. I remember that little redhead I carried around in my pocket when he was just a bean. And I called him the Sheely Bean. Then he got a name, and it was Grayson after I found out he was a boy. No kidding, I promise. I carried it around, showed it to everybody to look at it. Then I made it to the hospital, and I'm sitting there, and I was I'm an artist also. And when he was born, I was so overcome with what happened, I had to record it. I looked at the nurse, and I said, I need something to write on. She goes, what do you mean? I said, give me something to write on. You got a pencil? She said, yeah. She brought me the back of a nursing pad, and I drew his first portrait because he was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen in my life. And I love my wife now. She's beautiful too. But I'm telling you, something about that moment, you can't take it away. You can beat my brains out, and it's still going to be there. You'll find it. It's going to be right there. Emotion is important. When you talk about what Ford NGL does, it brings advisories. It brings choice to children. People get to pick what they're interested in. And we found very clearly that there were 3 reasons why kids leave us. Now, we didn't just look what the national stats say, and they said the same thing. We actually met with dropouts. We put them around the table. We were meeting with a bunch of brilliant people, and we got to talking about what we're going to do about dropout prevention. And I said, raise your hand if you dropped out. Of course, none of us had. And I said, all right, meeting's over. Looked at Dr. Winters. I said, go find me some dropouts, and let's find out. And we did that. We met with them as a district, talked to them, said, why did you leave? Number 1 reason, nobody cared about me. That's the truth. National stats will say that too. Relevancy is the number 2 reason. I didn't see it meaningful for the rest of my life. And number 3, it was just daggum hard. The rigor was too tough. I'm going to tell you, engaging a kid in this process with project-based learning makes them use the thing that's going to work for them. And they become smart because they remember the things because we're changing our instruction. Transformational instruction is the main thing that we start with the Ford NGL. The other things it does with these advisories, we have people, if you're an advisory teacher, if you're in this room and you're a teacher at high school, you're an advisory teacher. You got 25 kids, you're their school family. And sometimes in school families, you got to call and pick up the phone the day they don't show up. I expect a week from now, in the junior class, there's going to be a bunch of your kids that aren't going to show up because we've got a state law that says they can leave if they want to. You better pick up the phone first day and say, get yourself up here at this school. I miss you. I need you here. I'm better with you here. That advisor carries over for 40 years. Now imagine the benefit of that for a child that doesn't have a positive adult relationship. Transformational. So we talk about these practices. This is not some fad. This is not some cool thing that the guy that just got here 4 years ago came up with. This is something that has worked in every single community. I believe we're the 25th, is that right, nationally? That is something that is going to transform your classroom. It's going to make it be the thing that makes you love your job. Because the other thing we found out in every one of these places where these exist, there's a 75% satisfaction rate in teachers, which is about 30% higher than the national average. This is hard work, y'all. I know you know it. You do it every day. You got to find a way to make it easy on yourself. And I promise you, as we move through this process, this project-based learning is going to be good for kids. It's going to get them what they need. It's going to provide the relevance. And the last thing, and David gave me 5 minutes a while ago. Last thing I'll say this. Community members out there. There was a research study 25 years ago done by Harvard University. Said that the major problem with education is there's a disconnect between elementary, high school, and post-secondary. I think they left out a piece. First of all, it's pre-K. You know, we got that. Congrats, you pre-K teachers. But y'all know, right? Isn't that amazing? We got an awesome school board. They just keep saying, come on, it's like the Statue of Liberty over here. We'll teach you. But we left out the hirers. It's not about education. It's not about, it's not about the higher education, Chris. It's about the employers. It's about students being college, career, and life prepared. When they graduate us, that's what we want them to be. In order for us to be that, this is the process that we're going to operate in, because not only do they have positive relationships with you in the buildings, they're going to have a person that works in the field of study that they want to be in that has a professional relationship with them. So we are incredibly excited to bring this process. We've worked 2 years to get where we are. And some of you were the heroes. You said, you know what, I'll go on the ice first. I'll be the first set of cohorted teachers you got in the academy, and I'll go out and change my lesson plans, and I'll make this process different. And I applaud you for that bravery. But this is what's best for children. It's what's right for children. So we're very excited that y'all have chosen us, and we're very excited to move forward in this process. All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sheedy. Let's give him another round of applause. Next, we welcome the president of our school board, Mr. Brian Pratt. Mr. Pratt has served on the Board of Trustees since 2010, and he and his fellow board members have made courageous strides in moving the district forward. We are so very appreciative of his leadership and commitment to students. Please help me welcome School Board President, Mr. Brian Pratt.
Well, I don't know how you follow that. I think this is about the 4th time I've told Chad, I don't need to follow the best speaker in the house. So I have a few prepared notes. I'm going to have to go off script to see if I can do one better than Chad. I want to start off first with an apology. I just want to be up front. My fellow board members and I have been working real hard. We had a special treat planned for y'all today, but Mr. Sturgis pulled a muscle. We have to cancel our interpretive dance portion of today's program. I just have to say that seeing us in spandex is something you don't want to miss, but I don't know if you would allow small children to watch. But before I get on with what I really came here to say and try to outdo Chad, everything we're celebrating today is a culmination of our district and our community working together. So since Chad had an exercise, I'm going to ask everyone in here to participate in an exercise with me. I'd like everyone to slide to the left in your chair. And those on the end, don't fall off. And everyone slide to the right. And we probably have 1,000 some chairs in here. You're probably wondering what we all did. Well, in about 2 seconds for the convention center, we just cleaned the chairs. So working together has such power, right? Has such power, and that is what we are celebrating today. We are celebrating, it's not just the school district out here on our own, it is the Vicksburg community. And I have to ask you, when have you ever been so excited to be a part of the Vicksburg Warren School District or to be a part of Vicksburg? When? So let's talk about a few of those great things. And most of these things I'm going to list to you happened in most of them in the last year. So first of all, Leader in Me, which did start a little longer than a year ago, our relationship with the Forward Next Generation Learning, River City Early College High School, our Academy of Innovation. How about our 3rd grade reading test scores? We have the Vivian Marshall STEM Partnership. We have the first Mississippi State University Intro to Engineering course being offered in a public school anywhere in the state of Mississippi. We have free college courses being offered to our students for Hines and for Alcorn State University. We have one of 2 districts in the state, I believe, has been designated as a district of innovation. Okay, 3. Okay, 2 sounds better. 2. They're my facts. Okay, my facts. Let's see. We have a computer science for Mississippi Code program We were recognized by our governor in the State of the State address. I mean, when does that happen, right? Project Lead the Way, Excel by 5, United Way Partnership, multiple site visits from different states. We've also had other districts that are ranked higher than us within our state come visit us. Now let me talk about that a minute. When you showed up in math class, because like I did a few times without doing all my homework, and I needed to talk to someone, I didn't say copy, I said talk to someone about problem number 4 that I didn't have the answer to. I didn't go to the guy in the back of the room that's drooling and throwing spitballs on the ceiling. I found that girl in the front row that had straight A's to talk to her about problem number 4. And so to have districts in our state and other people around the country coming to see what we're doing, it tells you that we are doing something right. We had visits by the governor and our Secretary of State. We had the first partnership with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Education Employment E2E program anywhere in the nation. Not Mississippi, I said nation, United States of America. We have our STAR Academy, we have our Fresh Start Academy. We have a one-to-one initiative that enabled every student in our district to have individual access to devices. We hosted for 2 years in a row the Regional Leader in Me Symposium. We're only one of the 25 districts in the world that have fully implemented Leader in Me from pre-K through high school. We have expanded our pre-K program every year, not because we can afford it, because it's the right thing to do. And of course, and last but not least, our college and career academies. And these are only a small portion of the list. I think Chad and I were talking about this yesterday. This is what we came up with off the top of our head, but I know there's many, many more. And over the 7 years I've now been on the board, I have never seen so many great things happening at one time. I don't get phone calls at home with complaints. Okay, we have our dance team or cheerleader thing every year, but I don't count those. I can go to church now and show up 20 minutes early. So I don't get pulled off to the side. I had someone stop me in church the other day and said, "There's that Chad Sheely." And I said, "Yeah." I was waiting for what was about to happen. He's just marvelous. I said, "Yeah, he drinks a lot of caffeine too." So let me ask you one more time. So how does it feel to be part of something great? It feels pretty awesome. Well, first of all, let me just say that it's not Chad, it's not I, although he'd like to say it's the board. We say I and make a few motions. It's y'all, okay? It's y'all. We couldn't achieve all these great things without the teachers, the administrators, the staff. I'll leave you with a quote from Dr. Seuss from the Lorax. It says, "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better." It's not. I have to say that all of you have cared an awful lot. And that is why we are making such great progress. Because of this, I've adopted a new slogan, and I encourage you to use it. Y'all can change it if you like, but the slogan is, "Great things are happening in the Vicksburg-Warren School District, and Vicksburg, Mississippi is on the move." Can y'all say it with me? Great things are happening in the Vicksburg-Warren School District, and Vicksburg, Mississippi is on the move. I want to thank you. Please keep doing all that you're doing. Keep loving our children. God bless you. God bless the Vicksburg-Warren School District. And let's have a great convocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. We are grateful for all you do. Our next speaker represents the business community and is the Executive Director of the Vicksburg-Warren Chamber of Commerce and also leads the Warren County Port Commission and the Warren County Economic Development Foundation. Boy, is he busy. Mr. Diaz has only been in Warren County for a few months, but he is already making a difference, and we are glad to have his support for our many school initiatives. Please help me welcome Mr. Pablo Diaz.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. This is such an exciting, really exciting event, and I'm so blessed to be part of this and be part of this community. I have to tell you, we are very excited to be here. On behalf of the Warren County Port Commission, the Vicksburg Warren County Chamber of Commerce, and the Economic Development Foundation, we want to congratulate the school district, the administrators, and also all the teachers that are working so hard and have worked so hard to get us to this point. One thing that I wanted to make sure I mention is that we represent the business community, and what the business community is looking for is an innovative workforce. An innovative workforce that can adapt and that can solve challenges that are coming to us right now and that are going to come to us into the future. And I think to produce an innovative workforce, you have to have an innovative and creative school district, and for sure we have it in Warren County, so we're very excited about that part. Thank you so much. You know, I've said, sometimes I've said, and people have heard me say that, you know, all economic development is workforce development. All workforce development is education, and all education is really human development. And that is the most important thing to remember. We're talking about human development because the most important economic development asset that we can have to present to our companies that are already here or the companies that we want to attract is that, our human assets. So I want to ask the teachers to please stand up. Please stand up. And please be recognized. Because you are it, okay? You have in your hands that human asset that is going to create the workforce of tomorrow. You have our kids, our sons, our daughters, our grandchildren, and our community owes you all the support that you need as you go forward in implementing this initiative and any other initiatives. So you are really the most important part in what we're trying to do, education-wise and economic development-wise. So we thank you for all your hard work in implementing this initiative. One more thing I want to talk about, and that is partnerships, okay? This couldn't happen in Vicksburg and in Warren County without the support and the partnerships that come together. We are one family. There is one family, and that family is Vicksburg, Warren County, and no more. There is no separations. There is no 2 or 3 teams going in different directions. We are all together here for one single goal, and that is to have a vibrant community and a vibrant business community that supports that vibrant community in the first place. So we are very thankful to the business community, to the city council, the board of supervisors, the school board, all of them coming together to support Ford NGL, to support Leader in Me, to support all the other initiatives that have been put in place to support our human development, which will turn into great economic development for our community. Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Our next speaker has many years of experience as an educator and has served students as a teacher, assistant principal, and now as the executive director in the Mississippi Department of Education's Office of Secondary Education. She has been cheering us on through this process, and we are so glad that she is here to celebrate with us today. Please help me welcome Ms. Jean Massey.
All right, I'm not Chad Sheely, so I can't run around, but I can't stand behind that podium either. Thank you for having me today. And I would tell you right now, I've been with Mississippi Department of Education. We have this saying that we kind of joke about, I'm from the Mississippi Department of Education and I'm here to help you. You know, I really am here to help you. That's what I see, and I see that as my job. I came to the department about a little over 8 years ago, and when I came to the department, I was talked out of a high school where I'd been the principal for 13 years. So today, if I could take any job, it would be one of these over here, okay? Not yours, I don't want yours, okay? I don't want any of your jobs. I'd go back over here to the high school. I've been to middle school, I've been in elementary, I've been in all parts of it. But just to kind of go over what was said, you know this is about a partnership. High schools, I know I have Warren Central and I have Vicksburg sitting here, and I want you to think about this for a minute. Out in the community, everybody talks about your high school, right? Those kids up there are out of control. Those teachers aren't teaching. Y'all don't hear that, do you? That's not true. That's not what's happening in your schools. The change, you can do everything you want to make and see, make people understand. You can tell everybody, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. But when you invite the community in, the community truly sees what's happening in the schools. The community is the one that spreads to everybody else. You don't know what you're talking about. That school's doing what they're supposed to. We're in there. I've been up there 5 times, and I've never seen anything you're talking about. I saw it happen at our high school. The community changes the concept of what you're doing. Now, the community can change your concept, but the only way that your school's going to change is with the teachers in this room and with the principals in this room. Mr. Shealy, you can come up with every idea in the world, and you can throw it out there, but if it's not implemented at the level, it's not going. You will make the difference. And I've seen this. You're starting the Career Academy piece, and I'm going to tell you a quick story. Been able to go and look at a lot of different career academies and see them moving in. One of the reasons when we started this movement in the state was I was at a high school and I wanted to do career academies in my high school, and my district office was not Chad Shealy. My district office said, you can't do that. Why not? Well, you can't do it because the other schools aren't doing it. I cannot stand the word no when it's right for kids. You've got the opportunity to make a difference, and you've got to change what we're doing. You couldn't see, but we could from the front with Chad's Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. We could see y'all and us trying to do it on the screen. I could see them doing it here. Guess who got it right? They did. They did. We need to give them the opportunity to soar, not to hold them back. So that's what you're being charged with doing. And it starts all the way from that pre-K kindergarten to this young lady on the end that's a senior getting ready to walk out the door. It takes a continuous piece. Now, you talked about that pocket with your son. I now have a 5-year-old grandson. He starts kindergarten next week. The other day, we were sitting there, and he had his iPad and was playing with it. And you kindergarten teachers remember this. He said something was going on. I said, now, John Tyler, you're going to have to put that iPad down because next week kindergarten starts. He said, why have I got to put my iPad down? I said, you're going to kindergarten. Can I take my iPad with me? I said, John Tyler, I don't know if they're going to let you take that iPad or not. And he said, well, Nana, if I can't take my iPad, I don't want to go to school. He's 5. That's all he knows. I still have a hard time turning the iPad on sometimes, you know. So we've got to remember what our kids can do and allow them to soar. And that's what you're doing here in Vicksburg. That's a great piece. You read off all that list of things that are going on. But the bottom line is it the right thing for the kids in your school? Why do we need all of these things? Do all of you in this room learn the same way? Do all of you in this room have the same expectations for yourself? We need the difference for our kids to have the differences. And we need all kids to have the opportunity. One last thing. Why is this important that it comes from the school level? I visited a school that has wall-to-wall career academies. They've been doing the advisement piece like you're talking about for about 10 years now. They had in that school advisors that had been with those kids for all 4 years. Then they had advisors from the community that was a part of that cohort for 4 years. A teacher would leave, but that community advisor still knew those kids. That's important. But a bigger part of that was they got a new superintendent. Y'all may think Chad's going to be here forever. He's going to retire at some point in time, and somebody else is going to come in. If you want what you're doing to survive different leaderships, it's got to be built at the school level. This new superintendent came in, and he came from an area where career academies didn't work. So he had decided career academies were no good. So he walked into the school district and he said, now we're going to change this career academy over here at this high school. Y'all, the teachers, the administrators, the kids, the community said, no, you're not. He said, yes, I am. Guess who left and guess who's still there? Superintendent's gone, career academies are still there. So it's got to be from the school level. I will tell you that anything we can do or I can do from our department to help you, we will do that. We'll help you in any way we can. But remember, it's all about what I can do to help these students. There's going to be some days this year when that's going to be tough to remember, but always go back to that one thought. Is this the right thing to do? Is it hard? Yeah, but it's the right thing. So for Vicksburg, Warren District, just keep doing the right thing. Thank you.
Our final speaker today is Ms. Cheryl Carrier, Executive Director of Ford Next Generation Learning. Welcome, Ms. Carrier. We are so glad that you are here. Ms. Carrier has had the opportunity to work with many communities across the country. We are so glad that she has shared her wisdom on how to transform a community through reinventing our high school with us. We are off to a great start because of her guidance. Please help me welcome Ms. Cheryl Carrier.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. I have been hearing about Vicksburg for the last 2 years, and I have the pleasure of being able to work with communities all across the country. And I will tell you that when I arrived here 2 nights ago and started my meetings yesterday, from the minute I arrived, I felt like I was part of a family. This community is thoughtful and warm and gracious, and I now understand the meaning of Southern hospitality. You're authentic, and and I don't think the smile has left my face until I went to sleep last night, and I'm pretty sure I smiled through the evening. So thank you for the incredibly warm welcome. I'd like to just briefly introduce our team, Paula, Sean, Carl, and Rick. If you could just stand up. Thank you. They are stellar individuals who have thoroughly enjoyed working with your community, and I'm glad to say that this is, I'm happy to say while this is my first visit, it will not be my last. Now that we're partnering, you're stuck with us, so we'll be around for a long time. I really want to thank the teachers. I have worked for Ford for nearly 40 years. And I have no background in education. I was put into this position working in education at Ford Motor Company Fund about 16 years now. And I will tell you that I have so much respect for educators and teachers. I know, honestly, I know the impact they made in my life. From teachers who guided me through the process to help me make good decisions, to administrators that pulled me down to their office when I got in trouble. But honestly, the work that you do it's amazing. I mean, you are not just teachers, right, which is huge, but you're a moral compass. You're making sure students are getting the resources they need, and and making sure they're not hungry and everything else that goes along with your jobs, and people don't always realize the amazing work that you do. So I really want to congratulate you and know that we will walk across coals for you. So why are we here today? Well, you heard a bit. I hate to follow Chad. I mean, it was a mic drop, literally, when he was done. But we're here today to celebrate this community's success. And this really is, as I said, I get to travel across the country, and I have not been to a designation quite like this before. The energy is amazing. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Ford's been very engaged in education for a long time. And it really goes back to our founder, Henry Ford. He started about 70 schools in his lifetime. He was a firm believer in learning by doing. And it's really part of our DNA and our legacy. So Ford has always invested in education as one of their top priorities. But in the last probably 25 years, we've really focused on how do you make learning more relevant and engaging for students. So many students come to school and they don't see how what they're learning is going to help them. And I can tell you, I was one of those students. I was an artist. I didn't understand why I would need to learn math or science. And it wasn't until I had my own business that I realized I should have paid a little bit more attention to algebra. So we have always invested in how do you bring sort of the larger community into the classroom to support the teachers to bring relevance to the work that's taking place there. And we've spent an awful lot of, I mean, millions and millions of dollars on curriculum development and teacher professional development. And we saw huge success with that, bringing relevance to the classroom. But there was a point in time around 2006 where I was responsible for spending all this money, where I started to see something happen that really disturbed me. And that was when a teacher or a principal left, then all the work that they did around this curriculum that had been developed and taught in the classroom would go away. And I was very nervous and concerned because I thought, oh my gosh, we've wasted millions of dollars. And, how am I going to go back and tell Ford Motor Company that this isn't working? The truth was, it was working, but it didn't have a system to support it. And then around that time, I was introduced to the academy model. And many of you know what the academy model is, but I'll just briefly tell you about it. So it's an academic model. It's really about students learning their academics through the lens of something meaningful to them. And I think, Chad, you did the best job anybody could do. I taped the whole thing. It'll be on YouTube, and you'll be presenting at TED Talks in the next couple weeks. But anyway, it's really about bringing authenticity to the learning. So imagine that the students self-select into an academy. Maybe it's health, maybe it's engineering, maybe it's digital media and arts, and they're learning their academics through that particular lens. They're connecting with their business partners in the community that are in those pathways. And now they have the ability to work on real-world projects with their business partners and their teachers. They're cohorted with a team of students and teachers and business partners for 3 or 4 years where they become family. And one of the things that really excited me when I was introduced to the academy model was when I asked students what did they like most about it. 2 things. One was, we're family. We do not let each other fail. This generation does not want their peers to fail. You're an amazing generation. Where did they go? I scared them away. Oh my gosh. No, this generation, we are so lucky that you are in our future, you're our future leaders. I think that you're amazing people. But they will not let others fail. And the other thing that we heard was they loved the interaction with the business community and their local community. They felt connected. They felt like they had mentors, people they could talk to. The other thing that's really spectacular about the academy model is that, and I know we could all use this, right? The development of our 21st century skills. We all need to learn to work in teams and value diverse opinions and think critically and problem solve. And gosh, if I'd learned that in high school, maybe you know, my marriage would have gone smoother, right? I have a great marriage, but you know, some of those skills would have been really helpful, not only in life and work, not only in work, but also in life. So, and teachers love the academy model because they're not by themselves. They're actually exploring the world of work and getting out and getting to meet some business people who can help them in the work that they're doing. So they're not shutting their doors and all alone, and frankly, they're not facing heads down on the desk anymore. They've got students that are really engaged and excited to be there. And so the benefit for the community is remarkable. I tell the story that we started working in Nashville probably about 15 years ago as they were beginning to develop their academy model. And you could get a little condo or an apartment that was very affordable. And now there's just high rises everywhere. I mean, community prosperity has gone through the roof. You can't even afford to buy anything there anymore. And I promise you that's going to happen here too. And Pablo recognizes that's for sure. So you're the first in the state to be designated. This is a really, really, really big deal. And Jean can tell you that, and Chad and Mr. Pratt has alluded to it. You already have people that are paying attention to what you're doing. But they're going to start flocking to this community to see what you're doing. And you're going to be leaders in the state. And I promise you it has happened everywhere. So you know, what you have done as a community, you've come together to develop a plan to scale and sustain your academies. You have a remarkable community, really incredible. I have been so overwhelmed by how everyone has been involved in this. But you will be watched, and you will be a beacon for other communities, not only in the state, but across the country. And while we come in with a process to help you do this work, you've done the work. This is your plan. This is not our plan. This is your plan. And you will be the leaders in the future, and we will be looking at you and all the innovations that you're doing, and we will be sharing your story, and you'll be paying it forward and training and teaching new communities. So we're really excited about that. Anyway, I don't know what else to say other than you have an incredible community. And Chad, honestly, has been such a pleasure to see your mind work on Red Bull or Monster or whatever it is. Honestly, this man goes 100 miles a minute. You all know that. Trying to keep up with him is incredible. But this is a district to watch. And we are delighted to be here. We're delighted to honor you with this. However, the work isn't done. You're getting designated today. There's going to be some plaques handed out. But the hard work really, really remains to be done. And that is not going to rest on the shoulders of just the district. It's going to be a community effort. They are here to help you. They're not going to let you fail. They're going to be there to support you. They're going to make sure that they're working with the naysayers to make sure that they come along and be part of the team. And you have a really incredibly bright future. So tap on your friends' shoulders and your local, you know, that have businesses, local businesses and local nonprofits, and say, come on board, get on this train. This is an important ride we're taking, and it's very transformational for your community. This isn't a program. This is a real transformation. So with that, I'd like to invite Pablo and Chad to come up. Booker once said that leadership is not a position or title, it's about action and example. And we want to take a moment to recognize several individuals who have done just that as you've traveled on this journey to develop your master plan. And this has been over the last 2 years. Their actions and their examples have helped push your community forward to get this to this day of celebration. So when you hear your name, please come to the stage. And let me get my notes with right. Okay, so two organizations that have supported this work, both financially and with human resources. I'd like to start with Mayor George Flagg, City of Vicksburg. Could you come on up?
It is my profound honor to be here this morning, with all of you educators and all of you all. When I was listening to kids talk about they was from this school or that school, I was reminded that I was the kid that dropped out in the 8th grade. But I've never been so honored to be on this stage today in Vicksburg, Mississippi, as mayor of this city, because of what the Vicksburg School District, the Warren County Chamber of Commerce, the Warren County Board of Supervisors, the Mayor Board of Aldermen of the City of Vicksburg, and all of you that made this day possible. You are to be congratulated. And yes, Sherry, we welcome the opportunity for this designation to be the first in this state to receive this designation, the Forward Next Generation Learning. And I can tell you this emphatically, you couldn't come to a better community.
I know that.
Because of the fact when it comes to our children, yes, we are family. When it comes to our community, failure is not an option. We collaborate, we do what it takes to support the best superintendent in the United States, Chad, around his idea that yes, every child can learn. So, on the behalf of a community that keeps succeeding, we welcome this opportunity, and I accept this award on behalf of the Mayor Board of Aldermen, but more important, to the children's future of this community.
And the mayor's office has been incredibly involved in this, and we do not see that all the time. So this is really, again, a great community and a wonderful model. The other organization is Energy. Sheila McInnes, could you please come up, Sheila? Okay. There are three people who volunteer and really have gone above and beyond in this work to create the plan. And I'd like to welcome Kelly Barfield, who is the co-chair of the steering committee, to come on up. Here you are. She's in the... Carl Hearn, Batesville Casket. Thank you. And Lynn Foley, past president, Vicksburg Warren Chamber of Commerce. Could you come on up? And we're staying at Lynn's wonderful hotel, the Courtyard Marriott, so we appreciate that. Thank you. And finally, Lucy de Rosette. I know I messed that up. Aww. Director of Innovation. And one final request. I ask that all members of the Ford NGL steering committee, the people that were involved in helping to develop the plan, could you please stand? Yes, there you are. Okay, well, I am going to close this out with a huge thank you for welcoming us to your community, for letting be part of your lives and your future. And we really look forward to being here with you as you move forward. And with that, I think we're going to have some incredible entertainment with from the students, so I am going to turn it over to them. Is that correct? Okay, great. Thank you. And congratulations.